Hi, we are live. Good morning, everyone. How you doing? Thank you for joining us today. My name is Manny Aguilar, and I'm here with Mike Lugo today.
Morning, everybody.
We have prepared a great webinar this morning on the some must-know info for installers and resellers on our PTZs. This webinar is brought to you by Polite Technology Group. We've been in business for 26 years, and we have experience on everything CCTV, and we are ISO certified distributors and GSA certified vendors. This webinar, we are going to be talking about our PTZs, what they do, how they work, and we're going to be going over a graphic interface, showing you all the features and functions and everything there is to know about the PTZs. We also going to be talking about what applications are best for the PTZ camera. If you have any questions, you could ask at any time. We could answer them right away for you. The PTZ camera here, this webinar, we're going to be going over our three PTZ cameras that are in our inventory here. The first one being our coax, HD over coax camera. This one is a 1080p 1080p 2 megapixel resolution camera. It has a 36 times optical zoom. Great zoom for reaching out there, any gates, any structures that are a ways away from where the camera is installed. The IRs work up to 300 feet. These all are IP66 rated weatherproof housings, 24 volts, and they include a wall mount bracket.
Yeah, it also says they're control over coax. I'm gonna go over each of these different ways that the camera connects to the recorder or the controller. We'll go over that in a bit, but I just want to point that out.
Next one up is our IP camera. Pretty much the same thing as HD over coax and IP, 3 megapixel, 30 times optical zoom with PoE. And this camera has an auto tracking feature on it, so we're going to be going over that as well. Last but not least is our mini PTZ. This one is an HD over coax camera, has a 10 times optical zoom. Great little camera. It is also IP66 rated with IRs up to 200 feet. This camera also has a control over coax and does include that wall mount bracket.
So I'm gonna go over a couple of terms here, so as we know it's a pan, tilt, zoom, but what does that mean? So panning refers to the horizontal movement of the camera. Tilting is the vertical. Zoom is calculated by the maximum zoom length divided by the minimum zoom length, and that's how you get your times 32 times 36, that type of thing. Tracking, it's another important. It sounds pretty self-explanatory, but basically what it is the camera is able to cover a large area and track individuals moving through that area that it's covering. And I'm gonna go over on how to set that up and how it actually works. We'll see it live in a little bit. So I just wanted to go over those terms. So how do we control the PTZ? There's four main ways. Of course, through the recorder. That's the number one. You can use the Bolide CMS. If we look at the picture on the top right, and I'm going to go over these actually live as well, but I just want you to know what it is that I'm doing when I'm doing it. The web GUI, of course, that only pertains to the IP camera. You can also use it through the recorder's web GUI, but if you're using just the IP camera, you could also use its web GUI to control the camera. And last but not least is an external controller. And the external controller has a certain connection that needs to be understood on how to do that.
Mike, I got a question for you. Through our app, our Bolide Quick Connect, can we control the PTZ as well?
Oh, good question. Yes. So yeah, that's options I actually forgot to put on there. Through the phone, you can control the PTZ through the PTZ function on the phone. That's a good question. So first of all, we're going to go over RS485. This doesn't really pertain too much anymore to our cameras. Our cameras still do have the RS485, but now we have different ways to connect, much easier ways. But an RS485, basically, you're going to get 1,200 meters, almost 4,000 feet. It's a basic negative plus. It's also known as TIA 485A or EIA 485. And the way it connects is to the back of the controller. If you can see the picture on the bottom right or the picture on the top, there is a RS485 function on all of our recorders. You might see this on a controller. Very simple, positive, negative, and you'll be able to get that connection up to 4,000 feet. The second one is control over coax. Now this is for our new HD line, very similar to Palco Coaxatron, very similar. Basically, all you need is to connect that coax cable and you can control everything through that coax cable. The technology provides transmission, two-way data control for long distances. You can even use the existing coax cable. So the technology runs through the actual cable itself, as long as it's enabled or the function is ready on the controller or camera, you're able to use that. And the last one's going to be, of course, this only pertains to IP, but PoE. Whenever using a PTZ camera, there's not any protocols you have to set up. Everything's going to be run through the IP function, really easy to use. Our PTZs now have PoE, which is a great help, a great function to have. You don't have to run that extra 24-volt power. So it's a pretty important function to have. So let's jump right into it. I'm gonna go into the graphical interface of these cameras, show you how to set up some presets, how to do some tours. I'm gonna show you how the auto tracking works. We'll go over some controls, also the zoom function, and we'll talk a little bit about the IRs on a PTZ, which is kind of a new thing that's happening now with all PTZs. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over the live zoom and preset function. So give me a second here, let me switch over. Okay, so these are two PTZs you see here on the left. This is on top of our building. I want to pull up my PTZ controls. It's this here. It looks like a silhouette of a man.
Really quick, Mike, what PTZ are we looking at on the left and which one on the right? Just so you can kind of, see what, what camera is the image on.
Yeah, perfect question. So the one on the left is on top of our building. It's our IP PTZ 3.0, 30 times zoom. And I'm gonna show you guys some pretty cool things that this PTZ does. Let me load it up to full screen. So this is sitting on the corner of our building. You can see the mountains and hills off in the ways there. So PTZ, like I said, there's no other protocols to set up. I can move this PTZ, but just moving my controls here, sweeps across, very easy to use. But what I want to do is I want to set some presets, right? I want to see how far my PTZ goes. So you can see way off in the distance here, there's a water tower about 3 miles away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom over there. And you can see that's an excellent picture. Like I said, about 3 miles away, this PTZ is awesome. But I want to make sure that I can go there anytime I want without having to, mess around and fine tune that picture to get it right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set a preset. It's extremely easy to do. I'm gonna go to preset number 2, make sure I'm on the preset, and then I'm gonna hit a pencil. Preset completed. And you can see on top here it says set to. Now I set a preset earlier, just with my home position. I'm gonna go home now. That's gonna take me right back to my home position. Now I want to go back to my preset that I just made. So if I highlight that, hit my play button, and I'm gonna go right back. Very easy to use. Presets are extremely easy to use.
Now, Mike, can we zoom in any further if
So that's a great question. So my optical zoom right there is pretty much max, but I still got digital zoom. So if I hit my little magnifying glass here, I can highlight an area and do a digital zoom on top of that. And I can just go as much as I want. Of course, with digital zoom, you lose a little bit of, you get a little bit of pixelization because you're doing it digitally. But yeah, you could do that. So let me go back out here, go back to my home position. I'm gonna show you another zoom capability of this camera. So way off in the distance here, there's some towers. I don't know if you guys can see them, but like I said, I set a preset earlier. I'm gonna go there now, my play button. And you can see that image. That is about maybe a good 8 miles away. These towers are on top of the hill. And this is not digital zoomed yet. You can still go enhance that to a digital zoom and get that even closer. These cameras have an excellent zoom capability. So I have my preset set. Now what I want to do is I want to do a tour, right? I want to have my presets and I want it to go through these presets that I've made. It's real easy. I can hit my cruise button here, go ahead and hit my play button, and it should start my cruise and a countdown. There we go. Then it'll take, however many seconds I set to that specific preset, and it'll go through my presets that I made. Very easy to do a tour with these cameras. Not complicated, very user-friendly. So hold on one second, because we got a question here. 1 second, pull this up. So when using the control over coax, do you need to have power run to the camera as well as the coax? That's a good question. Yes. So control over coax just pertains to the control of the camera. Has nothing to do with the power. The power you're going to run to the camera like any other HD over coax or analog camera. You have your coax for the video and controls, and power would be a separate cable. Yeah. And we have another question too about what is the max PoE power required for the PTZ? It's just 15 watts. It's not PoE plus, it's just PoE. Yeah, it'll work off any. We also have, that comes with the camera, an injector in case you don't have a PoE switch. You can use the injector to run it. So it comes with both. That's another pretty cool accessory that comes with the camera. A lot of times you have to buy. Yeah, no, and of course you could run straight from our NVR. That's the best. That's the best thing about it. You don't need any extra accessories. So let me close this out here. 1 second. Let's lower that. So the second PTZ I want to go over is our auto tracking PTZ. I'm going to have Manny walk through, and you're going to see how this works, and then I'm going to show you how to set it up. So give me a second. We have someone walk through our showroom. And this is great for parking lots. There it is there. It sees him, recognizes him. Focus. And it should follow him. Yeah. So it auto tracks him, and it'll auto track until the person leaves the frame. It'll zoom in. It'll keep focused on the center of the individual. As he's bouncing around because he's moving around. And once he leaves the scene, give it about, I think I have it set to a couple seconds. It's gonna go back to its home position. Real easy to use. So how do you set that up, right? Give me a second. Let me pull this up here. Let me switch my screens over. So on top of that, this is also, kill two birds with one stone. This is also going to be the interface for the IP PTZ. So you log on, you have 3 options. You have your live video. If I want to use PTZ controls, here's my PTZ controls. Very easy to use, but we'll go to that in a bit. we're going to go over how to set up the auto tracking. So under configuration on my left side here, I have intelligent tracking. Very easy to use. All I have to do is turn this function on. You don't have to worry about any of these other functions here. Maybe time duration, if you want to set a specific time of how long it's going to dwell in a spot once the person leaves the frame. Other than that, I would recommend not messing with any of these other functions. Just turn it on, hit apply, and you're ready to go. Very easy to use, not complicated. I mean, anybody can do this. It's just one click and you're ready to go. So let me come back over here to here's another cool feature of the PTZ is we have I'm not sure if it blows up. Okay. So if you can see the crosshair in the middle of my screen, say I don't want to use the PTZ control functions and I'd rather just point, click, and go. I can do that with our PTZ. Wherever I put my crosshair, it's going to go. If I want to zoom, I can highlight an area and it'll zoom to that area. So multiple ways to control the IP PTZ. The control over coax PTZ functions, you would have to use the CMS or the recorder itself and use its PTZ control, which is very similar to this. I recommend using the CMS. The CMS is made for an all-in-one, all-inclusive tool. Everything's there. You don't need to be going around, hopping around using different software to control the PTZ and things like that. Very easy to use. Of course, you can always use this web GUI for the IP PTZ. It can be very easy as well. So let me click out of here.
And Mike, where can you get that CMS?
So CMS, a couple ways to get it. It's either going to come with your recorder or your cameras with the CD enclosed in the box, or of course you can always go to our website. It'll be there. Real easy to download, real easy to install. Of course, you need help with it, you can always call us. We'll walk you through. Or if you guys need a little more information on how to have these things work, or just a little help, maybe some personal training, we're more than happy to help you guys out with that. But yeah, so let me get out of here. Let's go back to one of my other things here. Let's go to my CMS. Okay. So you can see I have both my CMSs set up here. Both my cameras set up on the CMS. Here's my auto tracking camera. And the PTZ function is always going to be this little, it looks like a silhouette of a man, I call it, but really it's a joystick is what it's supposed to be. But when I click that, here's my controls. Let me blow that up. And of course, effortlessly, I can control this very, very easy. So let me show you real quick on how to set up the control over coax. This is even easier. I'm just going to my DVR here. I'm going to go to remote configuration. So under the device tab, actually, no, we moved it. I'm sorry. It's under the display tab, PTZ. You see that there's a protocol and a bunch of other information that we used previously with our older PTZs. And, you'd have to change the protocol to Pelco D, Pelco P. I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with those Pelco protocols if you've ever worked with PTZs. And you have to match the baud rate, match all this information, including addressing to the camera. No longer have to do any of that with control over coax. All you have to do is just set coax to the camera, make sure the channel's correct, and apply it. You're ready to go. Very easy. There's no more setup of the hardest part. My experience, a lot of customers calling is the addressing. How do you address? How do you change the settings on the camera if you have it on, another channel? You always got to put it in channel 1 and set up the address, get all the information right, make sure the wires are correct. All that stuff no longer, it's no longer a problem. Of course, we do have it still in our recorders for older PTZs, or sometimes it's just something that's wanted. That's there.
So in a sense, Mike, you're saying these guys are pretty much plug and play.
They're pretty much plug and play. Yeah, maybe a setting you might have to set in the recorder at most. It might take you maybe a minute, but very easy, very simple.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So let's talk about, let me go back to my PowerPoint here. So give me a second, let me move this stuff out of my way. Okay, so we talked about the presets and tours, auto tracking, some of the controls, the zoom function. Our cameras have auto focus on the zoom, so you don't have to worry about zooming and then having to fine tune that camera to get the perfect picture. It'll do it on its own. Keep in mind that if you are using the autofocus feature and there's spots on the lens or maybe a tree or a pole in front of your picture, it is going to autofocus on that picture or spider webs, something like that. We've had issues like that, so just keep that in mind. You want to try to keep that clean, or at least covered. Keep things in the forefront, out of the way. Another cool function of the PTZ, something that wasn't common with PTZs in the past, is the IR function. PTZs, for the most part, in the past were just the camera with night black and white images. Now with the IR function, and then let's go back to some of the distances that we get out of these IRs: 200 feet, 490 feet, 300 feet with an IR. That's seen, with a PTZ, you're getting a pretty good distance with some clear color on it, or clear images, with the IR lights going that far. Of course, we have a bunch of different accessories to go with the PTZs. Like, we have a parapet. What else do we have? Our
parapet mount,
wall mount. We have different accessories to go. Whatever's
full
gonna
mount bracket.
Yeah.
We have a corner mount, a bracket that you could mount the PTZ on the corner of the building. Just different mounting brackets that are available for these guys.
Yeah, so whatever your situation is, every building is different, where you need PTZs in different areas. We have the accessory that's going to meet that need to make sure you can get these PTZs up on that housing. So let me talk about some applications that might be needed for this.
Well, you know what? I think the most common one, or the place that these guys are used the most in, are parking lots. You want to kind of keep an eye on the whole area and be able to zoom in to any problems that might arise there. And this is the perfect camera for that. Also, we have customers that use them at airports, parks, recreational areas. It's all about being able to cover a large amount of space and being able to zoom in and kind of close up on something that might be going on.
Yep, I think we have a few customers that have very large homes, and they have driveways that are maybe quarter-mile away, and with the PTZ they're able to zoom in from their house all the way to the front of their entrance of their home. And with the auto tracking, man, these things are becoming self-ran. You don't need someone watching the camera anymore. It's going to track, especially for maybe larger stores. You want to track somebody. Another function that we have on our recorders are tracking within the maps. And that's comes in handy big time. With our facial recognition now, this stuff's getting pretty advanced. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions thus far about any of our camera stuff here? Yeah, we do actually. Just give me one second. Pull this up. Alrighty. So, would you not have auto tracking when doing a parking lot? I'm curious, how would it handle multiple cars, saying in a daycare at pickup and drop off times? So when you're tracking, you got a bunch of cars coming in and out. I would recommend getting a wide area. Because it's a PTZ and you have that zoom function, I would zoom all the way back, and rather than track certain cars, I would rather grab the whole area because there's a bunch going on. Yeah, There's another question. What happens if there are multiple targets to track going in different directions? Well, obviously, it's only going to be able to track one thing at a time. You know, these devices are pretty dumb. You probably need two. You can also set, you know, where it's going to have a home position. So it's going to track from that position on. So if they're going in separate directions, usually you want it on at the start of where they will start tracking, and you know, it's going to follow the first person. Of course, you would probably need two cameras to go two directions or two different areas. It is a camera. It's still a mechanical device that's dumb and only does what we tell it to do. I'm pretty sure in the future we'll have, you know, maybe some kind of digital PTZ where it can do dual tracking. But I mean, for now, the auto tracking function is it's pretty cool to have.
So Mike, so let's say you have a couple of people. It starts tracking one of the persons, and what happens when the person comes out of view or goes out of view of the camera?
Great question. So you set a dwell time to your camera that has nothing to do with the tracking. You just have a dwell home position, right? So let's say I think I have ours set right now to like 2 seconds. After 2 seconds, person's out of the picture, it's going to go back home. In other cases, you might have someone who might come out of the picture for 2 seconds and then come right back in. So you might want to set that time a little longer, and it'll track them back. But as long as someone's in the view of that camera, it's going to track somebody. And if nobody's there, it's going to go back to the home position. Yeah. Yeah. Any more questions, guys? I don't know if I rushed through everything a little too quick. I don't want to keep everybody too long. It's already going on 30 minutes, but I mean, you guys could always call. We're here to answer any questions. You guys want to know how I did something or how to do something in a further detailed manner, let me know. Let us know. Give us a call. We'll be more than happy to go over everything with you guys. Of course, remember, this will be on YouTube by the end of the day. Feel free to go and, you know, look it over. We do have another question. What is the smallest size item, say a bunny, that the auto tracking could pick up? So if you remember, I showed you there was some tracking features. In fact, let me go there now and I'll show you. Go back to my configuration, intelligent tracking. So this here, you can set the size of this trace magnify. So when it zooms in and tracks somebody, you can set how much you want to zoom. So if I increase that, it's going to zoom to a smaller area, a more detailed area. It's like a bunny. What I have it set for right now is perfect for as close as it is to people coming through, which is, it's pretty close. When you walk in that door, it's maybe 6 feet away. So you can adjust that to where it's going to better fit your needs. Of course, if a PTZ is on a roof and you're trying to track a person, it's going to look really small from far away, you know, just like a bunny would look small up close. So you can adjust and fine tune how you want to track. Yeah, that's probably the only one that you'd probably mess with. Hope that answered your question. We have another question. What is your operating hours for technical troubleshooting questions? So 7:30 to 6:30 Pacific time, Monday through Friday. We're here to answer all your needs. So that would be, you know, if you're on the East Coast, you're looking at what, 9:30, right?
Yeah, 9:30 to about 10:30.
Yeah. Or no.
Or actually, 9:30 to 9:30.
It would be 8:30 to 9:30. Yeah, 8:30 to 9:30 on the East Coast. Yep.
Also, if you call in, if you want to play around with these PTZs that we've been playing around with in the webinar, feel free to call in. We'll give you a login info, and you could actually, you know, kind of mess around with them, play around with them, and you know, kind of see what they're all about. Yeah, that's always I say. All I have to do is call in. We'll give you some login info, and you could play around with them.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. All these that we're playing with, they are online. They're all part of our demos. Feel free to call in and play with them, get to know them, work with them. Yeah, any questions, call us. We'll show you. We'll give you the ins and outs more detailed explanations on them. Whatever you guys need, we're here for you guys.
Or if you have any special applications that you might have questions on, we'll be more than happy to go over what the best camera is for that application or that scenario.
So I'm gonna wrap this up right about 30 minutes. I don't want to keep everybody too long. I know it's a Tuesday, and yeah, everybody wants to
get back to work.
Get things done.
All right.
But any other questions that we might have, you guys feel free to type them in. Once again, this will be on YouTube later on today.
Last screen there has our emails on there. So if for some reason if you think of a question or need some info after we wrap it up here, just jot down these email addresses. You could email us at any time, or give us a call, for that matter. All the info is on this page. Again, like Mike said, this webinar will be on YouTube if you want to kind of go over it and review it again. It would be when will that be available?
So it'll be on by the end of the day. Of course, probably a lot earlier than that, but for sake of time, but by the end of the day, you'll be able to see it. And remember to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Yeah, guys, I thank everybody for attending. Thanks for your questions. I hope I was able to shed some light on some of our PTZs. And like I said, feel free to give us a call if you want more information or you want to play with them. We're here for you guys.
Okay, thanks everybody. And if you want some pricing, just call your rep, and they'll be they'll be available to give you any pricing on these cameras here.
Thank everybody for attending, and we hope to see you at our next webinar next month.
You have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.